What's up, everybody? Isaac here with Civil Engineering Academy. Excited to be with you on another podcast episode. Appreciate you liking and subscribing and sharing these episodes with others. We really do appreciate it. Today, I actually bring on a repeat guest. I'm excited to bring him on and share what he's been up to, including a new book that he's been writing. Lane Kawaoka jumps on to talk about the new book he's writing called The Wealth Elevator, which is something that I think all professional engineers are really aspire to try to become, is find out where they should be putting their money as they make it, what options are available to them. And Lane is actually a professional engineer. He has his PE license and has found his way into syndications, which is a way to get into real estate. And so he talks about that and his journey into that and why syndications make sense for many people. So if you're interested in any of that, you can go check out his website. It's called The Wealth Elevator, and we'll make sure we link it in all of our show notes. But he is just a plethora of wisdom about investing, tax savings, things of that nature. It's something that we all want to kind of be better with our money. But as a whole, as a company, he's been doing this for quite some time now, and they've done over $2 billion in deals with real estate. So quite a bit of money and time vested there, and it's what he does full time now. So excited to share this information with you. If you have any interested in upscaling your life with your investments, with what's going on as you grow in your professional status, in your career, then you're going to want to check this out. It's going to be coming up right after this, so stick with me. Hey, before we start diving into this awesome podcast episode with lots of nuggets of awesome wisdom that we're going to help you with, I want to take a moment to highlight our awesome partner, Civil Engineer Gear. As a civil engineer myself, this is hands down the go-to destination for sleek and professional looking day-to-day gear with a civil engineering flair. You can bet that it's mine for sure. So whether you're on the job site, the job office, you're burning the midnight oil studying for your exams, or you're just chilling at home on the weekends, which many of us do, there is civil engineering inspired products there that combine functionality and professionalism to be your companion, your best companion during those days you want to check out. I definitely love the comfortable t-shirts and sweatshirts. I'm wearing one right now. I don't start my day without a awesome drink, one of my favorite drinks, and their awesome canteens. We also have awesome mugs, and don't even get me started on the spacious bags that they have there. They're big enough for all of my personal protective equipment, my PPE, shove it all in there, carry it with me. And it's not so big that you can't carry it around. It's actually a perfect fit. You can use it for your gym clothes, you can use it for your camping gear, yoga, whatever it is, you name it, throw it in the bag. Now, the best part of all this is that shipping is free on all orders. So if you are interested in getting some sweet civil engineering gear, check it out at civilengineergear.com and make sure to treat yourself with some awesome gear and accessories tailored specifically to your professional and personal life as a civil engineer. Go check it out. You won't be disappointed. Thanks for joining me on the Civil Engineering Academy podcast. Again, appreciate you jumping on and doing this.
Yeah. Thanks for having me back. Yeah, nice to see everybody out there.
Well, I know we've talked about your background in our last episode, but maybe for those that are just coming in or learning about you, could you just give us a high-level background as to what your career was like and what you're doing now? What are you doing today?
Okay, yeah. So today, we operate multifamily apartments and we syndicate deals. We've done $2.1 billion of deals, so that's like 60 something projects, 10,000 units. It's created my own business, but it didn't always start there. I was a lowly engineer out of college and just quietly, secretively building up my little single family home portfolio, listening to what my boss told me to do like a good little boy, and saving my money like a miser, and then told him to go pound sand one day. Well, it wasn't that dramatic, but I eventually quit my job because my passive incomes exceeded my expenses. But then kind of, talking earlier, I joined the new rat race, becoming an entrepreneur and kind of going off from there. I should have just quit when I was ahead and just done nothing. But yeah.
Well, I wanted to bring you back on because you've had some exciting new developments. Maybe you could share with us what changes have you made recently over there?
Yeah, I think maybe the last time we chatted, like we were really heavy into buying older 1980s, 1970s properties, putting a little lipstick on the pig, meaning new flooring, new paint job, maybe 5-10 grand of renovations per unit times 100, 200 units at a time. Um, that that's a one form of value add into the assets. Essentially a big flip, right? Times 200. Um, I think in the last since 2020 we started a wing of development, and I kind of found myself using my engineering skills again. Well, I was never good at engineering in my lifetime. I always joke about that stupid spider web
You got
problem
your
that you
PE
get.
license.
Yeah, but I got it in industrial engineering, which is no like math questions or like problem sets. It's just answering multiple choice problems, such as like, where is the most likely place on your foot that you will do your slip, trips, and falls on, which
Uh,
by the way is on your heel, So those are if you guys want to sharpshoot your PE license, I don't know if this is good for your business though, Isaac, but I'm gonna say it. But if you go in and get the industrial engineering um exam, you might be able to BS your way through that exam. And then what I did is I got it in Washington, and then certain states aren't super sophisticated, such as the state of Hawaii where I live. And then they would take the industrial engineering PE and they'd be like, "What is this?" Boom, we'll just give you the civil engineering one in our state, and then you're in. That's how that's what I did.
whatever it takes, huh?
Whatever it takes, man. Well, that's how my attitude was back then, because by the time I did my PE license, I was already, 5 years in and 5 years into investing. And I knew the light at the end of the tunnel was me just buying more rental properties. And I knew I was a short timer at that point. But yeah, I guess getting back to we found ourselves developing large multifamily workforce housing apartments. And once again, I found myself in the owner's rep role, where we hire, we're the ones who bring the capital to the table, which is the difficult ingredient to this, and why we get compensated so much being on the owner investor side. But then now we hire roles like a construction supervisor, construction manager, superintendent. The roles that I personally did, the poor sap that you pay 100 grand, 150 grand a year to put his heart, sweat, and tears in. We hired that guy to put our project together so we can make millions as owners.
That sounds really nice.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I don't know. It kind of puts things in perspective, right? Like, that's what I did for the longest time as a construction manager, and it's a thankless job. But quite honestly, like, college creates foot soldiers like this. And the way I look at it as an entrepreneur business owner, it's not what you do, how good you are at your job. It's how hard is it for the employer to replace you. And as a lower level engineer, you need to add skill sets to make yourself, to separate yourself than going to just the next branch of engineers that come up. And I guess, like, looking at my investors, the engineers that make the most money, multiple six figures, are the ones who have the technical background but can shoot the shit and build relationships and find clients, and the sales engineers.
true. Yeah, usually not the guy behind the desk crunching numbers. It's the guy out selling the stuff. So
Yeah, there's just like lawyers, right? Like, there's finders, binders, and grinders. I think we all want to be the grinder, right? Like, we want to be a good engineer, right? Person who can crank the numbers, do the CAD, But unfortunately, everybody does that, and it's a very,
man,
repeatable thing. The money goes to the people who are the finders and the people who can do it all.
true. Well, we got AI looming over engineering heads, and many people worried about
Even
jobs.
more, right? Yeah, even more. But like not the foo-foo on like the engineering job, but like people ask me all the time, like, do you regret doing it? Do you get you getting a PE? I'm like, well, you know what? Like, unfortunately, you have to start from the ground up unless you're independently wealthy. I know you aren't either, right? Like you and I weren't born with millions, so we had to go to, to study hard in high school, to get to a college, to get into engineering school, to get the PE. I mean, and then to get to multiple six figures to save 30 grand, 50 grand a year to invest in rental properties or syndications. That's the hard road, right?
Yeah, you got to start somewhere, and if that's where you got to start, then you can learn from there. So, yeah, good insights. So, one of the big reasons I wanted to bring you back on is talk about this new book you've been writing. What was the inspiration behind that? What's going on there?
Yeah, I mean, like there's a lot of books on financial like education, but not very many written for people who who aren't broke, right? Like there's a lot of information for like, you're really bad with your money, you don't make much money, here's some basic things to do. But speaking to the audience out there who are engineers, like, we get paid pretty well. We'll never be rich with a low six-figure salary, but have gratitude where it is like, it's a good livelihood, good quality of living, and it creates an opportunity if you are able to save your money to siphon off $10,000, $50,000. Like most of our investors, they may make $200,000, $300,000 as a household, but they're able to save, most importantly, $50,000 to $100,000 a year. Even when I first started, saving 20, 30 grand per year was enough to get going on this. And that's the important part, right? That's the delta. And if you can put that to investments, now you can really, really get going. But there was never like a book out there for that type of subset, right? People with money, but not a millionaire yet. And there was never, and as I started to, build my mastermind group and educate investors and also like grow myself net worth wise and what I call this journey, right? What I realized, there were different paradigms to this journey. And that's where this analogy construct of this wealth elevator, right? Ascending the building to financial freedom or even levels beyond there. And and kind of segregating the advice in terms of what do you do with retirement funds, what do you do with infinite banking, what do you do with your investment mindset, what deals you're kind of going into based on what floor you are in the wealth elevator. So to give an example, like the basement floor, right? I don't think anybody here is in the basement floor. These guys, they don't make 50, 60 grand a year. They are really bad with their money. A lot of these guys you'll find on websites like Bigger Pockets, where BP stands for broke people. And I don't know. Some people get offended by it, but like, look, I was always good with my money. I didn't make that much, but I was always good with my money. And I started on the first floor of the wealth elevator where, I think you have a good salary, you're conscientious with your money, you don't blow it like a drunken sailor. And, from 2009 to 2015, I bought these little rental properties or turnkey rentals in cheaper states where the rent to value ratios were 1% or better. So you take the monthly rents divided by the purchase price, 1% or better is typically a good cash flowing property. But then as I became more of an accredited investor and, I don't want to pigeonhole Isaac, but, Isaac and I are on the floor 2 and above, right? Like buying little rental properties just isn't scalable. It's a pain in the butt. Granted, if you're in the basement or first floor, buy yourself a rental property, right? And now you're seeing like, hey guys, the adults are talking here who are accredited investors who have more than $1 million net worth. There's something else. And that's kind of where the wealth elevator contract comes in, right? There's different levels to this and different advice based on who the audience is.
Was I'm just curious, but how long did it take to write the book?
It took like a year. Yeah, about a year. Definitely got some help along the way with it. Is us engineers suck at writing. Like we're not the best out of it.
Well, I guess that's my question: is how did you already written a book? Well, I mean, and then you wanted to write this, but this really pushed almost like a whole new brand for you. You have a whole new website, right? You have courses and everything else behind it. But so that was a monumental effort on your part to do that. And is the launch of the book supposed to be, I guess, coincide with the website and the branding and everything? Why did we rebrand, I guess?
Yeah. So like the old brand was like Simple Passive Cash Flow, which, again, like we're kind of becoming a little bit more like sophisticated. And like, I mean, I'm getting old, right, too, right? Like I'm not like a 20 year
Wait,
old.
how old are you? 40?
38. 38.
38?
Yeah.
I got you by 4 years.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty much the same in the middle, right? Like, but yeah, like like again, like when I was in the early days of like what I did, like the old brand, like we would teach people how to buy little rental properties. Obviously, like we've moved beyond that, right? And now investing in syndications and private placements, even stuff beyond that now is what I'm trying to pioneer myself. Venture capital, private equity, that type of stuff. And the brand just didn't really align too much because, like, for example, when I think investors usually come into this world, they want cash flow, right? I mean, obviously, like, and that was my goal when I was an engineer, was I didn't like my job, so I want to replace my income with other investment income, and you do that with passive cash flow. That said, it was very nearsighted, intermediate goal. Looking back on that, at least 5 years ago, where the goal was really to build ultimate net worth. Get your net worth, what I call today is end game, is $4 to $5 million net worth. And what that does is it creates a passive income stream of 15, 25 grand a year. And that's enough for most people, or at least most of our clients, to be very happy and live, first class flying lifestyle. And
15 to 25 grand a year.
a month. Yeah.
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 That was a year, I'd probably be living in my mobile home again.
Yeah. So, but to do that, you need 4 to 5 million of net worth to create that type of income stream. But once you get there, obviously you want to go beyond, of course. But like I think that's kind of the goalpost has kind of moved to that point for most of our investors. And to do that, you got to ascend the wealth elevator, quickly, which is the wealth elevator is kind of the cheat codes, right? How do you accelerate through this process as quick as possible? You have to work the process. You have to walk the journey. But how do you quickly move from rental properties to syndications and then find a community of other high net worth investors to invest alongside with? And it's a very repeatable process, but like finding the people is the hardest part of this whole thing.
Right.
And that was where, like, we had at one time, e-courses trying to, how to buy your first remote rental properties, turnkey rentals out of state. All the e-courses now on the website are free, or like on our members page. If you guys sign up, you guys get that stuff for free. We just give it away for free because, I mean, I know we don't really make, we don't, I know it's become kind of a passion project, right? Like, you guys got the time, you guys are bored at work, do the e-course, right? This is the way you're going to expedite yourself to financial freedom, not a gimmicky way, not a get rich quick way, but a very prudent way that I myself have done, right? And many people have done. It's very different than, like, some people flip houses and wholesale houses. A lot of those strategies are just for lower net worth guys who need to hit a Hail Mary. That's just not what people are super busy with families and high performing jobs, high paid jobs, like a lot of you guys are doing, and who are especially busy with their time. But yeah, like what I realized going through this is, if you invest in good deals and you use the passive losses you get from these types of investments, and you mitigate your taxes by a bunch, and you do a little infinite banking, this trifecta is very powerful strategy.
Yeah, I think so too. I think most engineers obviously are W-2 employees. The money there, they want to get to that $4 million, $5 million mark, but they're pumping it into a 401k typically that has some match to it. but they usually can't see that money, right, until they're 65 years old. So what I've loved about your material is it's teaching people how to accelerate that process so they can you know, bring that $4 million number to something where you can actually enjoy it a little more in your life.
Yeah, yeah, and you're not gonna grow it if you invest in traditional investments such as stock market, mutual funds, etc., which is what the 401k keeps you trapped in that cafeteria of options. Not until you jailbreak the money out, you get it out, and you vet, then you're able to invest in other, more direct to the operator types of investments, and that's the second part of it, right? Like when you invest in these traditional investments, there's all the Wall Street float where they take all these hidden fees and don't get duped by the expense ratio. That's not even a fraction of the fees that they're taking on the side. And this is where either if the whole idea is of cutting out the middleman. You want to either own your own rental properties where you're directly owning it, or you want to be the direct investor in the deal. And that's the only way, like by cutting out the middleman. And this is what kind of why one of the reasons I'm really passionate about it. Like I think it's so messed up what Wall Street does. Essentially, everybody works and blindly puts money into these 401ks, but that's exactly where they want you. They want you to put the money in there so that they get to take it in hidden fees away from you. And, ultimately you get paltry returns. But that's, I don't know. I mean, if everybody just did what I said, they wouldn't be working,
Kind of a
right?
trust. I think a lot of people have a trust issue, though. How do they connect with people? I think they just blindly put it in because they feel like they can trust this institution that, let's say, a REIT is going to go find some property that they can fix up. But obviously, there's a lot of hidden fees there. So how do I guess how does the book or you teach to connect with people that you can actually trust to go and do some of this stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
Syndications.
I mean, you hit it on the head, and sometimes I forget about that kind of that barrier to entry, right? Because a lot of this is when you're investing directly with the sponsor, operator, syndicator. How the heck do you find that guy, right? and and this was like a problem that I had when I first kind of made the jump from 11 rental properties to being in this world. Is there's a lot of shysters and fake it till you make it people. And it ultimately comes down to your circle of other purely passive investors that you have around you. That's why we're big on community. We have our annual retreat, coming up this next week. And it's really about, if you can find 4 or 5 good buddies around you that also do this, it makes the world a very small place. And that's kind of why I've kind of forgotten the aspect that you just brought up. But yeah, it's a big thing, right? Like you have to get past the marketers and figure out who are the honest people out there kind of doing this stuff. There are 2 kinds of risks. There's counterparty risks and there's a risk in the investment. When you're investing in real estate, it's a hard asset. There isn't too much risk there. But yeah, the counterparty risk is, I think, what you really need to try and focus on initially. And I myself, I didn't know any accredited investors investing in this type of stuff when I first started. So that was why it was very difficult for me, and why, like, I look at like trying to re-engineer the steps to get here again. It really is the network. And that's kind of where we curate that for people. And that's ultimately how we make money with the mastermind group and all our events, right? You pay to come to a pre-vetted group of people who are kind of in the similar shoes as yourself. And
Perfect.
but it's not for everybody, right? Like, I mean, let's be real. Like, I mean, I'm an introverted engineer. I mean, I may not appear that way because I get super passionate about this type of stuff and financial independence, not working for the man. But as an engineer, as an introverted engineer, I mean, you got to get out of your shell to some extent, and you got to play nice with others. But
Yeah.
we have a cool group.
Yep.
Guys like to drink beers, have some fun, and bro out. We have a pretty down to earth kind of group.
I like it. Well, what's in this new book that's coming out? What's a favorite part of yours? Is there a favorite part of yours in the Wealth Elevator?
I mean, I'm excited about, like, I think it's a good primer. It's not a small book. I mean, I think it's like 200, 300 pages long. We had to pay extra for the editor to expand it because like we wanted it to be a reference guide to people even beyond 2 million, $4 million net worth. So I think I'm excited because I think if you've never ever kind of into this alternative investing rabbit hole, it's a good introduction to rental properties and syndications and private placements. But, like a guy like yourself, Isaac, who's already kind of, in there, it kind of touches upon a lot of like what's beyond, right?
Started
Like what's
drinking the
beyond,
Kool-Aid.
what's beyond the next horizon, right? I climb Mount Fuji and it's kind of like a mind bender. Like you go up to one pedestal, then you only see two pedestals above you. In a way, this is a very similar thing. Like unless you're $2 million net worth, you can't begin to imagine what is the investing mindset of four or what the tactical things you're going to be doing. But maybe for the engineers involved, there's a chart. There's a cool chart based on, hey, here's your net worth. Here's what you got to be doing for infinite banking, investing, taxes, throw out your 401k at this point, just burn the bullets on that. Like there's a chart, right? So I didn't lose sight of you guys, right? Like we couldn't fit a flow chart in there because that would just been ridiculous to put in there. But we have a table for you to quickly reference. And
we love our charts.
Yeah, you love your charts, but you love your flow charts more. But sorry, we couldn't put that in there this time. Maybe next time. Maybe we should make it.
Awesome.
Maybe we should put it on the website.
I'm excited, man.
Yeah.
Get a chart on there. Well, when does the book come out officially? Where can we point our audience to go check this thing out or sign up for it as it gets released?
Yeah, it should be out February 1st is what they tell me on Amazon. They call it, just Google the Wealth Elevator. If you guys want to join our newsletter, join our club, see what kind of deal flow we get, you can go to thewealthelevator.com/club. The first book, if you're short on time and you want a quick primer and a lot shorter book, I think it's like 50, 70 pages. My first book might be a good place for that. The Journey to Simple Passive Cash Flow is what it's called. I just say, I mean, the next one is way more in depth, but I think that one is a quick primer, real quick read.
Yeah.
I think it's like 99 cents on Kindle. But if you want, I don't know if we have it on the website, but I did read the whole book out. So if you want to put up YouTube and you want me to like audio, you want to just listen to audio version for free, maybe just send our team an email. They can give you the links to that older book. But yeah, like that's the hard thing, right? Like, a lot of engineers are very conscientious, as I was very early in my career. Like you focus on being a good engineer, but I always tell people like, what is the real business, like, or the real focus? Like the real focus should be you and your family getting them financially free, and that's your personal finances. Do not lose sight over that. Your employer, your job is just a means to make money, and your job is to get that money and invest it the right way.
That's right. That's a great way to end this, Lane. Let's end it there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll go ahead and leave the links for people in our show notes, and we're excited about the new book. Make sure to go check out the book. Lane, thanks for jumping on and sharing your wisdom. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Isaac. Take it easy, man.
All right. See ya.